Welcome back, students. I am your geography teacher Vandana Joshi and you are watching SST June. Students, today we are going to start our new chapter in our book first. That is Geomorphic Processes. So already a little intro about the geomorphic process you have studied in your first chapter, that is geomorphology, in which we are studying about the reliefs and features of our lithospheric surface, in which we are studying about the rivers, mountains, rocks and etc. So let's see what is geomorphic process and which topics we will cover. Okay, so students, as geomorphology and the geomorphic process is having a vast material, so this chapter we will complete in several videos. So first for today we will cover these topics. So in which first of all we will study the nature of the surface of the earth. Actually, students, because the geomorphology or geomorphic process is totally telling us about the surface of the earth. So first we will see what is the nature of our earth surface and how it is moving, which forces are there, and what is the process and what are the things in the earth surface. Okay, then second that we will see the geomorphic process. Actually, students, the geomorphic process broadly categorized into two categories, and the categories are according to its movement, and the movements are known as the endogenic forces and exogenic forces. So later when we will discuss about these forces, we will get more information about that. So first in geomorphic process we will look a short intro about these two topics. Okay, then after that our today's third topic will be the endogenic process. Means what is the endogenic process and what things are coming in that we will see. Students, actually the endogenic process is a process which is occurring inside the earth's surface. So in that many activities there are there, like dystrophism and the volcanism. Actually the endogenic forces is related to the magma and related about the mantle and core as well. So the work which has been done, the forces and the things which whatever are occurring in the inside of our earth, these are known as the endogenic forces, or the process is known as endogenic process. So in that one process we will see the dystrophism and the volcanism. Okay, so let's start our today's topic with first subtopic, that is nature of the surface of the earth. So students, if we talk about the nature of the surface of the earth, so what is the nature of our earth surface? Students, as you know, our earth is divided into three parts, that is crust, mantle and core. So the crust, which is made up of soil and other elements like rock and minerals, it is the surface of our earth. So students, what is the nature of earth's surface? The nature, as we know, our earth's crust is so much dynamic, okay, and it moves vertically as well as horizontally. The earth's crust is moving vertically and horizontally. Why? Because it is divided into different plates. As you know, when the formation of earth was there, it was known as Pangea, and then after that the plates were divided into two parts due to some movements which were occurred due to some forces. So they were divided into two parts, like Gondwana and the Laurasia. So that is known as a movement in our earth's crust. So students, the differences in the internal process which is operating from within earth, which built up the crust. Some forces are there, some movements are there which are forming our earth crust. So as these are responsible for the variation in the other surface of the crust. Means the movement which are having in the earth surface, these are vertically and horizontally, they are the responsible movements which are forming our earth's crust. Okay, so as students, as you have studied in your previous chapter that our earth was formed millions year ago, around 4.5 billions year ago. So what is that? Because according to some geologists that that time also earth was moving and the plates were also moving, and still it is moving, but the movement which is occurring in the earth surface, that is around few millimeters in a year. Okay, so students, the lithospheric plate of earth which is still moving, but this movement is very slow, and this is divided into two parts. Okay, that I'm telling you how the movement is divided, and let's see the flow chart, then you will understand it better. Okay, so students, to better understand about the earth's surface movement, let's see this flow chart in which you can see there are two types of earth movements, that is known as endogenic forces and exogenic forces. Students, the endogenic forces are divided again into two parts. That first is sudden forces and that is dystrophic forces, which you will study in this video in the endogenic forces. Okay, so if you will see, student, about the sudden forces. Sudden forces, as the name is showing, the sudden forces are again divided into three parts. That first is earthquake, second is volcano, in which about the volcano you will see in the volcanism. Actually, then after that this earthquake one, it is including in sudden forces as well as the dystrophic forces. Okay, so students, that third one is landslide. Okay, third one of sudden forces, landslide. And if you will see the dystrophic forces, in that one thing is there, that is building mountains. The mountains which are formed in our earth surface, these all are coming in the dystrophic forces as well as in the endogenic forces. So now let's see what is in the second one part. The second one part is exogenic forces. Students, actually exogenic forces are occurring outside of the earth's crust, and they are forming many landforms, which you will see in this chapter later. So what is the exogenic force? The exogenic force is the cause of the erosional and the dispositional works, in which we can see that rivers, wind, sea waves and glacier and many more activities which are occurring outside of the crust, they are the responsible of the exogenic forces, and due to these erosional activities many landforms are also forming. So that we will see. Now let's see if we have understood that earth movement, what is earth movement. So students, overall, if we want to talk about the nature of the earth surface, the earth surface is having a nature to continuously move. Means the continuous movement is a nature of earth surface, in which we can include two types of forces, that is endogenic force and exogenic force. So students, let's see what is geomorphic process. Students, as the geomorphic process, it is referred to the chemical and the physical interaction between the earth surface. What is it? It is a chemical and physical interaction, okay, between the earth surface and the natural force which are acting on it. Okay, so next thing what we can say, and the interaction which is the interaction which is on the earth surface, that is chemical and physical interaction. This interaction produce various type of landforms. Okay, so different landforms are produced by this type of chemical and physical interaction, which we will see in our upcoming videos. So what we can say, that as already students, I already told you that geomorphic process, it is classified into two parts, okay, which are forming the different landforms as well. So what are these parts? That first it is exogenic forces, and second is endogenic force. Okay, so the reaction which is occurring on the earth surface, that is chemical and physical interaction, which produce many landforms, and the landforms which are produced by the different forces, these forces are known as the exogenic and the endogenic forces. Okay, students, I already given a few information about the endogenic forces. So if we will talk about the endogenic forces, these are generated in the interior of the earth. As you know that earth is having an inner surface, so from that interior part of our earth, that is generating a force which is known as endogenic force. Students, the endogenic force can be divided again two parts, as already I have shown to you in flow chart, that is known as sudden movement and the diastrophic movement. So the diastrophic movement, which it can be also classified into again two parts, that is aperogenic and orogenic. Okay, there are two more forces, that is known as aperogenic and orogenic forces. Okay, and the sudden movement, that already I told you, it is also divided into three subparts. These are known as the volcanic eruption and the earthquake, as well as the landslide. So students, to know more about the geomorphic process, let's see few more points about the geomorphic process. Students, if we talk about the exogenic forces, the exogenic forces are the forces which are generating outside the earth's surface. Okay, and these forces can be classified again into different parts, as already I told you, that is weathering. In the weathering, that few forces like river and the glaciers and that sea waves and wind, these are coming into the weathering, and as well as the mass movement, erosion and deposition. These are also a part of exogenic forces. Students, about the weathering we will see in our upcoming videos of that chapter. So in short, what we can say, weathering is the process of breaking down or the disintegration and decomposition of rocks. Means the different type of rocks, when they are breaking down or they are disintegrated, so they are making different type of features on our earth. These are like it can be erosion or sediment deposition as well. Okay, so the weathering is also can be classified again few more parts, that is chemical, physical and biological weathering, which we will see in next video. Okay, so students, here what we can say, the endogenic and exogenic forces cause physical stress and chemical action on the earth material and bring the changes in the configuration of the earth's surface. It is known as the geomorphic process. So students, now let's see our today's third topic, that is endogenic process. Students, the endogenic process which is occurring inside our earth. So what is that? The energy which is emanating from within the earth is the main force behind the endogenic geomorphic process. Okay, so what we can say, we can include these type of activity in the endogenic process, that is the radioactivity and the rotational force of earth movement, and the tidal friction, which is just caused by the new moon and full moon, the gravitational force through which the tidal friction is occurring. And then after that, the fourth is the primordial heat from the origin of the earth. When the earth was formed, that time one primordial energy was there which has formed few heat, so it is also cause behind the endogenic processes. So students, what we can say, the endogenic force, it can be classified into two parts, as already I told you, that is diastrophic and the volcanism. Okay, so let's see what is diastrophic and what is volcanism. So students, if we will talk about the diastrophism refers to deformation of the earth's crust, and more especially to folding and faulting. Diastrophism can be considered part of geotectonics. Okay, so a diastrophism comes from the Greek word which meaning a twisting. Okay, so what is the meaning of diastrophism? That is twisting, as it is especially including the folding and faulting, which are also known as the twisting. So student, the diastrophism also called tectonism, large scale deformation of earth's crust by natural process, which leads to the formation of continents and ocean basins, as well as the mountain system, plateau, rift valleys and other features through the diastrophism. So students, if we want to classify the diastrophism, it is having total 4 types. That first is organic process, second is plate tectonic, in which the plate tectonic is the theory that earth's outer shell, okay, which is divided into several plates and glides over the mantle. Third part is earthquake, which is the earthquake involving locally relative minor movements. And the fourth part as well is the aperogenic process. So students, the aperogenic process, it is known as the it came from the Greek word that is apeur, which means the land and the birth of land. Okay, so here students, I have used two words, that is orogeny and aperogeny. What is orogeny and aperogeny? The orogenic movement are the movement which are building the mountains, okay, and whereas the aperogenic movement, these are forming the continents. Okay, so orogeny is a word which means to building the mountains, and aperogeny is a word which means to build the continents. Okay, and student, what is volcanism? Student, the volcanism is the phenomenon of eruption of molten rock, which known as magma. Students, the volcanism, it includes the movement of molten rock onto or towards the earth's surface, and also formation of many intrusive and extrusive volcanic forms, which already I told you in the chapter 5, where we have studied about the rocks. So students, here the topics from geomorphic process are completed. Hope you understood these topics. So students, for more topics from the geomorphic process chapter, keep watching SST June.